2. Yay, we're on. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fran and Friends. When you see Fran, you already know that it is Friday. And before I introduce my special guest to you, you guys, if you've watched my show before, I love to start off with a little bit of energy. So here we go.
Let's go. Let's get it. 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 Let's go.
Oh, so everybody, today I'm delighted to have a wonderful guest with me, one of my circle sisters. I believe she's also my Cornell sister too. Yes, she is. She's like, yes, I am, girl. Get your facts straight. And I was just telling Cassandra that I am very good at messing up people's bio, especially if I try to do it off cuff. So I'm going to read Cassandra's bio so I can give her the credits that she is due, because Fran is good at bloopers. If you watched the show before, you already know I'm very great at bloopers. So Cassandra Hill, she's a master life coach, best-selling author. It says that she's a speaker here, but I need to revise that because she is a keynote speaker. Her passion is empowering Black women to live life on their terms by up-leveling their emotional, spiritual, and mental well-being. Cassandra is a catalyst to spark Black women entrepreneurs to create game-winning strategies to achieve them while living a peaceful life. Cassandra's been awarded for her services with recognition like the 2022 Influential African American Women in Business by Smart Women Partner. And I'm not finished. Women's Biz Global Woman to Woman to Watch in 2023. And I'm not finished. She's also collaborated with Goldman Sachs, Nashville Voyager, and Authority Magazine. Cassandra, please tell us, what do you have going on now?
Oh, goodness. I tell you right now, I'm super excited. I am in the process of launching a TV channel that will be a place where women will have their voices heard and have stories that uplift and empower us. Right now, Fran, I'm sure you're seeing in the world, we see so much hate towards women in general, but especially minority women.
Yeah.
And I want to do my part to ensure that minority women can come to a station and not see all the ratchet, all the demeaning, and see women like you, women like myself, who are doing amazing things in this world to where they can get the motivation to realize that your dreams can become reality.
God. Speaking of dreams becoming reality, how did you come into your path of where you are now? Like wherever you want to start.
Yeah. Well, I tell anyone there is purpose in your pain. So many times we feel that, oh, why me? But you really should be thinking, why not? Why not me? Because I can recall working in corporate America and being on that, we're all climbing that corporate ladder. And I was climbing it. I mean, it's just no denying I was climbing it and excelling as a gerontologist. But you get to a point where your body cannot take all those long hours. For me, just me neglecting my health, my well-being. And so when my body did shut down and I was diagnosed with systemic lupus, I knew I had to do something different.
Oh, wow. Oh, for those that are watching, Cassandra, what is is it, you said you were a gerontologist?
Yeah.
And then also too, if you could share with people, just educate them a bit more on what lupus is and how that affects our bodies, if you don't mind.
Sure. Gerontology is the study of aging. And so as a gerontologist, I would study how the aging process affects our physical body, emotional, mental, psychological well being. And with studying those things, then I work with the mature adult population, is what I call it. Work with mature adults to have a plan of care to where they can age in place. Most seniors would like to be in their home. And so helping them to do that for those who may find themselves in a long-term care facility, just
Mhm.
helping them to have the best quality of life for as long as possible.
Mm.
So for me, that's what I did as a gerontologist. But when we think about systemic lupus, there's different types of lupus. You have lupus that could be discoid, primarily affects the skin. You have drug-induced lupus that actually comes from
Really?
prescription drugs. Um, However, with systemic lupus, when we think about some being systemic, it's widespread, right?
Hmm.
So with systemic lupus, it can attack various parts of the body. For me, it attacked respiratory, skeletal, but it can attack any part of your body. And what happens, the body does not recognize its own healthy tissue. And because it doesn't recognize it, it attempts to attack those tissues.
Oh, wow. So I'm assuming that it causes like an aching and a pain.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, the pain is, most people, and for those, especially women, because not that lupus does not affect men, it does. However, it affects more women in childbearing age, and it definitely impacts more Black women
Mm.
than any other segment of our population. So, if you're having symptoms that's unexplained, like if you're having fatigue, if you're having problems with your joints, if you're having problems with fertility, even, or it may not be infertility, it may be having problems delivering a
Mm.
contact a rheumatologist. That's the expert you would go to. Let them run an ANA test on you, and that's the beginning of making sure you get an accurate diagnosis.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that. I didn't even know any of that. So
Yeah.
that I'm sure whoever might be listening in, that be helpful for the general public for sure.
Yeah. And so that's how my journey started. I was doing my treatment for systemic lupus. I wasn't satisfied with traditional treatment, so I went back to college. And I was taking courses in alternative medicine, taking courses in health and wellness, and eventually God blessed me to develop a regimen that put me in remission. Yeah,
Yay.
8 years.
Oh my God, that's so
Eight,
great. So you
yeah,
were studying alternative medicine, and what was the other ones that you mentioned?
health and wellness, taking
Health and wellness.
courses, health and wellness courses. Yeah.
Wow. So like how do you get so after that you went into remission. Oh my God, that's
Mhm.
beautiful. So how did you decide that you wanted to do the life coaching? Like what
Yeah.
was that point for you?
For me, when it clicked, I'm like, okay, God, what I went through, the stress, the overwhelm, that's really common for not just women in corporate, it's coming for women entrepreneurs. And so, with me having these skills from my real lived experience and then having the training, I knew I was called to serve women, and primarily women entrepreneurs, women in corporate, minority women, to get us to have that emotional and mental well-being we deserve.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like the corporate system has this set up where it doesn't really, or well, it didn't really prioritize mental health.
Yeah.
And that work was the main priority. So, what kind of shift do you see in the corporate world in regards to mental health and what that used to look like to what it looks like now?
Now I see there are employers who are embracing well-being now because they see how it benefits their bottom line. Because when you're talking about a corporation, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, even just a large corporation in general, you do have some corporations who, yes, they just want to do the right thing, but then you also have some corporations, their focus is on that bottom line, and where you can show that when you make the work environment a environment where stress is low, where mental health breaks are encouraged, you notice things like your insurance being decreased as an organization. And when you start seeing your bottom line impacted, it makes you like, hey, yeah, this is something we need to focus on.
Totally, totally. So today in our topics, we talk about self-love and domestic abuse amongst Black women. I wanted to see which one you wanted to dive into first and how these have impacted your life and the people around you, and how you also want to make that impact. Why did I ask like 5 questions all in one? Pick one, Cassandra. Pick one.
I think first, let's talk about that self love, because I believe that is the first layer. When you think about an onion, that first layer there, when you think about self love, and we toss that word love around so much. I could say, oh man, I love Red Lobster biscuits. Do I really love them?
No,
I
because they
like
changed the
them.
recipe.
I do like them, and I'm with you. I would love to have that recipe, but love is multi-layered and so much more than that. To where it's hard for us. We overuse that term to where now we don't know how to properly love ourselves.
Ooh.
Because we think love, if I go get a manicure pedicure, I'm showing love to myself.
Wow.
Not exactly. You did just have a pamper experience, and kudos to you for that pamper experience. But love is on a soul level. Loving yourself is something that, of course, daily, something you do every single day. And it's something that is going to rejuvenate you as a person, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, mentally. It's going to affect these feel good chemicals in the brain. Those activities is showing love. And from what I found, just a little background to why self-love matters so much to me. At one point in my life, as I mentioned, I worked in corporate. The neglect was real. I actually had systemic lupus back then and didn't know it. I was being treated for being anemic, and with me being treated for that and not knowing that I had lupus, all my pregnancies never went full term. So I ended up losing several babies, and I was married. And for a woman, so many women, we attach being a biological, traditional mother to our worth. And that's something I struggled with for a long time. And because I didn't fully value me, I allowed myself to be in an unhealthy, toxic relationship where I wasn't loved.
Wow. I'm so happy that you brought that up because, like you said, it is thrown around so much what self love is or the idea of what it is. And like you said, we are identifying activities as what something that is done on a soul level
Yeah.
and something that can only be identified within the core values
Hmm.
and the being of who we are. So, like you
Yeah.
said, doing the nails is not a love thing. It is a pampering. I'm so glad that you brought up that example because a lot of women do use that going to the spa as a self-love. Those are activities of it. They don't necessarily mean that you love yourself in that space.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you talking about being in that toxic relationship causing you to have these miscarriages. That's toxic. But if you went before to go do your nails and then come back into this relationship and here you are experiencing this environment that isn't exuding love, that right there is telling you that there's something missing in that equation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And right now, when we think about self love, when you don't fully love yourself, you're going to attract and not shifting blame on a person who's experiencing any type of domestic abuse, whether it's mental, psychological, physical. You're not at blame. However, when we lack self-love, self-worth, we attract those type of individuals in our life because
Oh,
we have that energy to where they see it.
talk about it.
And the studies right now show, which I was so shocked to learn this, friend. I currently do work with a local domestic abuse shelter in my area.
Mm.
According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 45%, 45, 45% of Black women experience domestic abuse violence. That's according to their records. Now, what I know, that's what's reported. Do you realize how many women never report?
Oh my God.
So we're talking about, we know, just logic tells us half of the Black women in the US have experienced domestic abuse in some shape, form, or fashion. And this is one of the reasons why the self love revolution means so much to me.
Mm.
It's not just something that sounds good, it's necessary.
I was a product of that. So I totally resonate. Um, and the children observing these things,
Yeah.
just not even realizing as mothers in the situation how this could be impacting the children. Yes, they do have an idea, uh, but also too, like kids are more patterning after
Yeah.
versus not listening to the advice of.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
ooh,
Yeah.
that's like what, one out of every like five or 10 women, or two out of every 10 women that
One
are,
in five.
yeah, one
Yeah.
in
One
five,
in five.
yeah, 1 in 5. Wow,
Mhm.
that is crazy. So, how did your work come about with the domestic violence shelter?
For me, like I said, my what I experienced was more mental, emotional, psychological. Um,
Yeah.
in doing the work, being in the healing journey is ongoing. Even for me, you never stop doing the work. It's an ongoing journey, and sometimes it looks different. Sometimes it may mean having a therapist, and sometimes you take a break from therapy. Sometimes you may have a coach as well. But for me, how I started doing the work, one of my books, it's a devotional. He Restoreth My Soul, Triumph Through Adversity. And the shelter was looking for inspirational something for the ladies. And when I heard of it, I'm not even for sure how I heard of it. And I was like, I could donate my books. And it just grew, my relationship.
You didn't have your book inside of your bio that you sent me. You need to share how many of these books have you written? I'm like, I'm like, okay. Thank you, Cassandra.
Well, that was my first book. It's my baby, and it means so much to me. Not that my other books don't, but that devotional, friend, can I tell you, I wrote that, and it wasn't slated to be a book.
Okay.
You know,
Do tell the story.
I was in a real dark place, going through the divorce, had just lost a baby. And I'm like, Lord, you're just going to have to help me get through this. And so every day I would open up my Bible, and whatever scripture spoke to me, I would write that scripture, and then I would just write thoughts about it. And I would write and write. And I did that for so long, and I just found myself on the other side, just feeling so much better. And I thought the writings were just for me. And so I put them up and went on about my life, and like, oh, thank you. And as life would have it, this was probably 6 or 7 years later. I'm speaking at an event with the Ayana. So
Ayana Van Zandt?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So everybody, when I say everybody knew about that conference, everybody knew. And I had this publishing company reach out to me, let me know they're looking for new authors and everything. Was I interested in being an author? I was like, sure. Because I've always been a writer my whole life, even as a kid. I just didn't, as a kid, I didn't realize it was something I could do for a living, because I never saw that in my environment, right?
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm interested. I'm like, do you have anything you've written already? And I was like, yeah, I do. I was like, here's a writing sample, let me know what you think. I'm not expecting it. They get it, fall in love.
Wow.
Literally, like, they were like, this is the book.
Wow.
And it's won Book Excellent Award, and it's impacted lives, and I'm thankful to God for that.
Goodness. But you had to go through that.
Yeah.
You had to go through that experience for us. And I'm sure those steps were not easy.
Not at all. And sometimes, I don't know about you, Fran, but people see the highlight stuff. They focus on the highlight stuff. Like you mentioned earlier, like Cornell, like, man, what I wouldn't give to go through Cornell.
Right.
What I wouldn't give to be part of the NASDAQ family. what I wouldn't give to go through, be part of Goldman Sachs, 1 million black women. Well, sweetie, and I'm thankful to God for each and every door that has opened. Even like right now, when the TV channel does come to fruition, I'll be the first one shouting from the moontop. But all of that was birthed through those dark places. No, raise your hand if you want to lose a baby. No one does.
No.
But God turned that into my purpose.
I always tell people, be very careful when you say that you want to be like somebody, because you do not know the things that they've experienced in life to get to where they are today. And like you said, all they see are the highlights. They don't see you crying in your bedroom.
No.
They don't see you having thoughts of suicide. They don't see um, you got like 20 late bills of, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't see any of that. And this is really what social media is good for, is those highlights. But
Yeah.
yeah, I encourage people to ask people about their story, how they got there, and talk about the low parts.
Yeah.
Because that's really, I feel like that's really what has made the character,
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
being resilient in those times.
Yes, for sure. Because, the resiliency, if you never went through challenges, especially for those out there who are CEOs, entrepreneurs, if you do not know how to go through a challenge, your business will not survive.
Because there's going to be some hard times.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to know how to deal with that. Just think about the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out, okay, where do I fit in? How can I stay in business?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's even like my company was a virtual company, but guess what? I still had to figure out some stuff. Okay, you're a speaker. Prior to the pandemic, most speaking engagements in person. So as your speaking books are getting canceled, and you're, like you said, you now the money, like, okay, my bills didn't stop. The bills
Where's the
didn't
off
stay
button? I said, I'm looking for the off button.
So it's on you to figure it out. I know for me, I had my whole book tour scheduled. So cancel. That's money lost. Big
Man.
time. Because you talking about venues already set up, books already. You got to know how to
Pivot.
and manage crises. You got to be able to manage a crisis.
I know we're not talking about this, but I'd love for you to share how you pivoted in your space.
Sure. For me, like with the books, had already ordered umpteen books, and the world is shut down. Guess what? I'm going live. These social media platforms, post office still open. And I'm like, oh, I'm thankful the post office is still open. So I'm going live selling books.
Awesome.
The speaking engagements, okay, I can't dictate someone else counseling but what I can do is make myself more visible, because now this has literally become a nationwide. You can get out there and get known, not just US, internationally. So as I'm making my presence known even more, God bless, I was able to get a spot on an international news station
Wow.
out of London. I was on there like once a week, giving my little thoughts on health, wellness, and everything. And eventually that opened up doors for other things, whether it was writing. I write for several different media outlets. And then as a speaker too, once people start doing the virtual conferences, hey, here I am. Like I said, I'm Keynote. I'm available.
Can you say that again? You're what?
I'm a Keynote.
Yes,
I
thank
am
you.
a Keynote.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Speaking of Keynote, what other new accolade did you just get branded with?
Oh goodness. Shout out to LinkedIn. I just cannot believe that right now today I am a top public speaking voice on LinkedIn as well as a top life coach on LinkedIn. And I'm just so thankful. The life coach was awarded just today, and actually just last month is when I got the public speaking voice. But I'm just, you guys, when you grow up what they consider the wrong side of the tracks, and have those humble beginnings. You have dreams. I had dreams. I always did have dreams, but my dreams were never of this magnitude. Never like this. I always knew that I would go to school for something because, I was taught education open doors. So I knew I would go to school, do something, but I actually thought, like even when I started my career, that I would do that and retire. If someone had told me like you'll have your own business, you'll be an author, you'll be, I'd be like, no,
I don't see
I'm be out here working as a gerontologist, and if I speak is research, Southern Gerontological Society, something like that. But like getting on somebody conference, like, yeah. So believe in yourself, believe in dreams, and whatever pops into your mind here, don't discount it.
Count ourselves in, huh?
Yeah. Put yourself in, because if your mind was able to think of it, it was for a reason.
Say that.
It was for a reason, even with the conference with Ayana, we do these vision boards, right? Every year. That year,
girl, I got like 8 over here sitting behind my couch.
That year, for some reason, I was just led to put Ayana on my vision board. And I didn't understand why. I've always loved her, always been a fan of her. And I thought, what's the purpose in her being on the board? I never in a million years would I thought that I would speak at the same conference as her. You could not have paid me to, even think that. And I remember it just happened. So, you do your vision board. This particular conference called me to speak like February, I think. I said yes, because popular conference, I'm like, yeah, I'm here for it. Let's
go.
Yeah, let's go. But the actual conference wasn't until I think like September, October, like fall. And probably like a month or two before the conference, I knew Ayana was going to be the keynote. I did know that. But a month or two before the conference, the event planner reaches out and was like, hey, there's going to be a select group of the speakers who will meet with Ayana, like have dinner, the whole thing, and you'll be one of those speakers.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, okay, Lord, I guess that's why. But you couldn't have. So I don't care how outlandish it is, put it on there.
Beautiful. I love that. Oh my God, I love that. So, gosh, who would have known, right? You're like
Yeah.
putting the picture on there. And then thank goodness you didn't have to wait a million years because we don't live that long. That you were able to see this thing to come to fruition.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
so beautiful. Going into self love from when you started with all those traumatic things that occurred with you, how do you now maintain self love for self? And how do you share that with the clients that you have?
Yeah. What's so important with self love for me personally, it starts right at the beginning of my day.
Mm.
You got to be intentional, giving yourself the grace to carve out at least 15, 20 minutes of your day where you're in meditation, you're in prayer. Because one thing about it for me, I believe in God.
Mhm.
And I believe that God, each and every day, He's talking to us. But are we listening? Are we listening to what he has for us? Because as we're listening to him, he's going to let us know what we need.
Mhm.
And another bonus, this for the CEO people, in that quiet time, I guarantee you, he will download. You'll get some ideas for as far as your business that will skyrocket you. I promise you,
That
because you'll
quiet
get some clarity. Um,
period.
but I'm really big on the meditation, prayer. Also big on pouring into myself intellectually as well.
Mm.
I feel if you're not learning, you're dying. So whether I'm learning through reading a book, whether I'm learning through listening to a great show like Fran and Friends, whether I'm learning through uh,
Thank you, girl.
a digital course, but feeding my mind intellectually. And then this is another thing, especially for us minority women, us boss women, being intentional to remind yourself of your worth.
Mm.
And one of the tools that I do many times with my clients for us to remind ourselves of our value, our worth, is completing what I call an inventory skill set. And
Ooh.
what that looks like, you take a notebook and you write down every amazing thing about you. You might want to put your educational background. You might want to put different media you've done, whether it's print or digital. You might want to put certifications. Whatever you put, attach a price to it, attach a
Mm.
number to it. And you have to do this because a lot of times as women, the numbers scare us. Money, that's something
Ooh.
we have a hard time grappling. But put a
Give
number
us an
on.
example, like for example, with the Cornell.
Yeah.
What kind of number would you put on that?
For me, I think I put like 80K.
Ooh, I'm gonna say 120. Okay.
But and I have my little I have my notebook here. I keep it on
Okay.
my work desk. And you take every little thing, y'all. And then when you finish, total it up. For me right now, I'm just over 800,000. I probably need to go back and update it because I think I may cross that seven-figure number now.
Sister, you need to share that with us. Is there a little PDF that you have? Because, like you said, some women are scared to do that because they don't know what that looks like. So if they don't have a reference, you know how.
You know what? I have not turned this into a PDF, but that's a good idea.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Once I add some of this new stuff I got going, I just might do that. But that is a reminder of your value to the world.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something every day you're doing some type of activity to remind yourself that you are worthy. We need that. And then also, when you look at your circle, you're looking at least the top 5 people you spend the most time with. What type of individuals are those? Are they people who have ambition, drive, who have an optimistic outlook on life? Or are they Debbie Downers? What's a Debbie Downer, you might ask? Debbie Downers are those individuals that I don't care what's going on, they will find something to complain about.
Yes.
And those type of individuals will affect your emotional and mental well-being. You know, so pay attention to your circle, and it's okay for your circle to change because there's some people who cannot experience the full journey with you, and they just can't. They may be in the nosebleed section.
They're gonna have to be in the nosebleed section.
And that's okay. Because, you know, some relationships will reach an expiration date.
Period.
And if you open up your refrigerator right now, you look at some milk and you see it has reached the expiration date, what do?
Throw it out.
You throw it out. And you have no qualms about throwing it out because you know if you drink it, it's not good for you. It's not good for your family. So you toss it out. Period. Relationships are no different. They're no different. Every relationship is not designed to last a lifetime.
Say that again.
They're not. It's okay.
Oh my God.
Give up the okay, the good, to make room for great. Sometimes we wonder, right? Like, man, why am I stuck? Why, I've been doing all that. And sometimes it's just a matter of you don't have the space.
That part.
You just don't have the space because you're holding on to stuff you knew should have let go last year before, 10 years ago, and you're still holding on for your life, and it was time for it to go.
I keep holding on.
And I'm gonna follow up. I'm gonna say with Mary, I'm gonna do something for me.
I said, like, we really, like, the people we hang around with, the conversations that we have, all those things are encompassing of the energy that we're attracting. And if that's not what we want to see, we definitely need to make those changes, have different conversations, cut things off.
Yeah.
And I shared a little analogy last week with another lady that I had on here. And I told her, like, when the tree's leaves fall,
Hmm.
even though the tree has been nurturing that leaf for a very long time,
Yeah.
the tree doesn't do anything about the leaf falling. The
No.
tree is stopping there. It's being. All it's doing is observing. Even
Yeah.
though it's put all the nurturing, all the
Mhm.
minerals, everything that it could to make that leaf grow, it inherently knew that one day it would have to let that go.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. It's part of the journey.
It is part of the journey, it is part of life. And nature tells us that. And I think one of the things that keeps us stuck is like the idea of stability or things not changing. But that is the one thing that is consistent. Is
Yeah.
change is consistent. And it's a part of the cycle of life.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah.
It is. And if you're not changing, that means you're stagnant. And you don't want that for yourself. You
Mm-mm.
do not want that for yourself, not only for yourself, but for the people you love.
Yeah.
Because when you're not the best version of you, you're not able to, as as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, you're not able to operate in excellence for your clients.
At all.
You know, as a caregiver, caretaker, whether it's for a lot of times we think of caregiving in the sense of you might be caregiving for elderly loved ones, and there's a lot of people who do that. And yes, you have to be physically, emotionally, mentally whole to do that. But caregiving, it stands past that. You
Mm.
know, when I know for me, um, I'm the type of friend I want to be there emotionally and mentally for my friends. And
Right.
for me to be there and hold space for them means Cassandra got to hold space for herself as well. So we just don't realize the impact that we have in our system.
Totally. Totally. And girl, I was over here trying to look for the podcast questions. I couldn't find them. So, but what I do want, what I will end off with is I would love for you to leave people with something that you think is critical for this particular time. Um, and the journey that you've had in self love is not one that people can walk through. Not everybody can walk through those shoes. But I'd love for you to just drop some wisdom.
Yeah. I want to end with this quote. Anyone with the ability to love should start with themselves.
Hmm.
Love is an inside job. Oftentimes we seek love from so many other, whether it's people or things, but love starts with yourself first and others next.
Hmm.
So be intentional. If you have the ability to love, start with yourself and watch how it benefits every relationship in your life.
Hmm. What's one small thing that they can apply to them for self love if they don't have a clue on what that looks like and they need a reference? What's one small thing that they can do?
I would say one small thing you can do is use affirmations,
Mm.
because our words, here's the thing about our brain is not able to recognize fact from fiction.
Mm.
So even if you find yourself in a space where you don't completely love yourself, as you're using those affirmations, the more your brain hears that, it will start taking action regardless.
Mm. I just
Um,
No, go ahead.
And tad bit under my name, you'll see my link tree, Hello Cassandra. If you go there, I do have affirmations that I wrote for women, but hey, it might be some guys listening. You might want to use them too.
I love that. I was going to say there's something that I learned recently that if we record ourselves with our own voice using the affirmations, that it overrides something in our brain like, oh, this is us talking to us.
Yeah.
And now it begins to resonate, these affirmations, versus us hearing somebody else's voice on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. It's a game changer. It is a game changer.
Well, you guys heard that. Now, Cassandra, she has a whole bunch of books. As I mentioned earlier, she's a keynote speaker. So I would love for her to share where you can find her, all their social media links, and yeah.
Yeah. The easiest way to plug in with me is right there on the link tree, Killer Cassandra. You'll see all my social media links, Facebook, IG, YouTube, all the places. Then you'll see all the resources that I have as well. You'll see for those who want to connect with me in person, I will be hosting my first retreat next year, 2025.
Ooh.
The retreat, 20 slots. That's it. I want it to be small, intimate. It is a retreat that's for Black women entrepreneurs. If you are a Black woman entrepreneur who needs a break, I want to relax and unwind, but you also want to get some strategies to grow your business, this retreat is for you. If I were you, and I'm not just saying this, is not me being salesy or nothing. I know for me, I operate in excellence. And that's why whether you look at my Google and you see a 5-star review, whether you look there on the LinkedIn, for those who watch in LinkedIn, the reviews I have there, I take pride in my work. And I know
my phone just went off when you said that. Confirmation. My phone went off when she said that.
And for me to operate in excellence and make sure that my clients get what they need, I choose to work with a small group of women. So if you're really interested in elevating and growing your business, and like I said, getting some R&R at the same time, I encourage you to go ahead, sign up for the retreat. But if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to me. You'll also see, as I mentioned, I have affirmations, digital courses, just all types of resources to support primarily women, but I do get some brothers as well who benefit from my services as well. But check it out. If you know you need support as an entrepreneur, your emotional and mental well-being, are in strategies to have the financial stability you need in your business, let's have a conversation.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you already heard it from our master keynote speaker and also our master life coach, Cassandra Hill. She's going to be having an excellent retreat, and I'm sure that's going to be power packed. You don't want to miss out. If she's already hitting those levels of keynote speaking, you already know that you are in for a power packed time. So, Cassandra, sister, thank you so much for joining me and for your energy and just for the work that you do for the community. Appreciate you.
I so appreciate you. I see you rocking it out. I'm gonna give you your flowers. I know I message you and stuff, but I gotta give a friend her flowers right now because she has been rocking it out, and her presence is just, oh my goodness. Like every time I log in, it seems like on LinkedIn, I'm seeing whether you're at the NASDAQ with the bell, and I'm like, yes. But I know that greatness is in store for you. And I don't know about y'all, but if you would benefit from her services, don't wait. You know, a lot of times we want to wait till we want them to be Oprah. By the time she at that stage, guess what? You'll be done missed out.
Right?
You will be done
You gotta have the
missed
open
out.
money.
But right now, she has expertise that could benefit you and get you to that next point. So do it now.
Thank you,
Do it
sister. I
now.
appreciate that. Thank you for the flowers. I received them. All right, everyone. You have a wonderful weekend. I would say don't do anything I wouldn't do, but that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, just have fun and be careful. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you again for joining us, sis.